learning more details on the controversial double tap strike that killed survivors on an alleged drug boat near Venezuela. Exclusive CNN reporting reveals that boat, according to the admiral who oversaw the operation, was not bound for the U.S., contradicting the Trump administration's justification for the attack. Moments ago, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth spoke about the boat strikes during a speech at the Reagan National Defense Forum in California.
Right now, the world is seeing the strength of American resolve in stemming the flow of lethal drugs to our country. These narco-terrorists are the Al-Qaeda of our hemisphere, and we are hunting them with the same sophistication and precision that we hunted Al-Qaeda. We are tracking them, we are killing them, and we will keep killing them so long as they are poisoning our people with narcotics so lethal that they're tantamount to chemical weapons.
All right, let's discuss more now with Democratic Congressman John Garamendi of California. He's a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thank you so much.
Good to be with you.
I do want to play a little more of Hegseth speaking moments ago, and a question from Lucas Tomlinson from Fox News was asked as well. I want to play it, and then I'd love to get your reaction to it. Let's listen.
Can you take us back to the September 2nd strike off the coast of Venezuela, the very first one when combat operations began in the Caribbean, and walk us through the timeline and your role in it, from mission planning, the operation, and the follow-on strikes?
Absolutely. So it took us a couple of weeks, almost a month, to develop, and I can't get into sources and methods and all of those things for obvious reasons, but you have to develop the intel picture, get an understanding of what you're looking at. And a lot of our assets, as I talked about in the speech, had been pointing 10,000 miles around at the other side of the world for a very long time. So once we got to the point where a strike was imminent, I had taken the decision responsibility up to my level. Not many military decisions should be made by the Secretary of War. I believe in deferring those decisions to local commanders as much as possible. But because of the strategic implications of the first few strikes, I wanted to hold that decision at my level. And the briefing that I received before that strike was extensive, exhaustive, I would say, as each one is since. On the military side, on the civilian side, lawyers, intel analysts, red teaming, every aspect. What do we know? What do we know about their affiliation? A lot of things I can't share in this room to give us the kind of confidence that we know where this is coming from, who's driving it, who's on it, what their intentions are, where it's at, all the details you need to strike a designated terrorist organization, which is an important thing to remember at the top of all this. The president has designated these as terror organizations, poisoning and threatening the American people, making them a target just like Al-Qaeda. So in that room, in that moment, it was, I can't remember exactly how long it would have been, 20, 30 minutes of a preview of exactly what's going on. And my job was to say, execute or don't execute. So I was satisfied with the strike criteria, yes. Saw the strike itself, which all of you have seen. There was probably 30 or 40 minutes, is what I've been told, of dust, and it was on fire for a long time after that. I stayed for probably five minutes or so after, but ultimately at that point it was a tactical operation, and so I moved on to other things. I shouldn't be fighting tactics as the Secretary of War, so I moved on to other things. Later on, a couple hours later, I was told, hey, there had to be a reattack because there were a couple folks who could still be in the fight. Access to radios, there was a link-up point of another potential boat, drugs were still there, they were actively interacting with them, had to take that read. I said, Roger, sounds good. From what I understood then and what I understand now, I fully support that strike. I would have made the same call myself. Those that were involved in 20 years of conflict, Iraq and Afghanistan or elsewhere, know that reattacks and restrikes of combatants on the battlefield happen often. In this particular case, it was well within the authorities of Admiral Bradley, who's an incredible American, an American hero. And the 22 or 23 strikes since have followed a similar protocol of ensuring we meet the criteria. The decision's not at my level anymore. And then we take the strike.
After Admiral Bradley.
All right. So what are your thoughts on hearing that as he, tries to explain the timeline and then once again makes a distinction that the vessel was burning for about 20 to 30 minutes. He watched for about 5, but then left. At the same time, he says, if he were asked, he would he would endorse this course of action. What do you read into or decipher from all that we just heard?
Well, he's working very, very hard, and frankly, I think incorrectly, to justify the entire organization, what they're trying to do here, taking these boats out with these strikes. The second strike, he didn't really explain that in any detail. And here's why we need to have a detailed public hearing. We need to get to the bottom of this. This is really the opening pages of a major scandal. It clearly involves the Secretary of Defense and others. And so what we need to do is to be very careful, get all of the facts, get all of the communications, get all of the video, put the timelines together, and actually understand exactly what Hegseth said. He still has not dealt with this issue of kill all of them. That issue is out there. Where did the Washington Post get that information? Who's passing it on? All of those kinds of things need to be known. And then after we have that, then bring Hegseth in when we have the facts. And if he wants to try to continue to just explain his way incorrectly or correctly away, fine, but you've got the facts. Public hearing, get it out there, let the American people know. And he did not deal with the underlying legal issue of attacking the boats at all. And certainly he's not dealing with the issue of, are we going to go to war with Venezuela? Why? What are what's the goal there? And finally, keep in mind that the U.S. Coast Guard has been doing this kind of work for years, successfully recovering tons, hundreds of tons of cocaine and other drugs. They sometimes work with the military to identify the boats. The Coast Guard goes out, stops, makes the arrest, takes the drugs. That's common practice. Question, why are we not doing that now?
And I wonder, too, sources are telling CNN that Admiral Bradley did share with lawmakers on Capitol Hill this week that he did consult a military lawyer before ordering the attack. And this was the double tap that he consulted.
Right.
What does that tell you? Is that enough for you? What do you think needs to be shared in that kind of dialogue?
Well, this is what we need to know. Who did he talk to? Keep in mind that Hegseth basically fired all of the top lawyers and the JAG team out of the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. Who was the lawyer? What was his experience? And what kind of information did he give? This is why this hearing has to be done very meticulously. Start with information like that, do those interviews with the lawyers and others, and then build up to get to the facts. And maybe the Admiral's in trouble, maybe not. We don't know. We basically have back and forth words between Hegseth and the Admiral. Clearly, there's a problem. Mm-hmm. Clearly, there was a second strike. How did it happen? Why did it happen? And start at the beginning. Why was that boat targeted? What information did they have? They said they're not going to discuss methods and means. Well, you don't have to discuss that, but where is the intelligence that tells you this is actually a drug boat and the other boats that have been blown up? And finally, so what are you trying to solve here? You're not going to solve the drug problem by blowing up these boats, and certainly we're not going to solve the drug problem by attacking Venezuela. Keep in mind, there is no authorization to use force against Venezuela. And no authorization to go to war. But yet Trump, I believe yesterday, was talking about airstrikes into Venezuela. Hello? Under what authority? Under what authority does he have to do that? And where's the money? Where's the authorization? Congress has got to get engaged here. And we have to put on our big boy pants and push back, get the information, and make sure this is done correctly.
All right. Congressman Garamendi, always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.